DBS community, welcome back to another Dragon Ball Super video here with Kyle Chris, and today we're going to be going over one of my two Videl builds that I have been messing with. This one is more of a, I would say, a traditional version of how launch should probably be played currently, and the second one I'll go over at a different point in time, probably during the week or next week. And that one takes place with a little bit more of multicolor stuff. It is pretty fast in some senses, but we'll save that one for a different day. But this video, we're going to go over my mono green list. Make sure you guys like and subscribe. Let me know what you guys think of the list. Hit the bell for notifications, just so you guys let me know that you guys like the content and I can keep putting stuff out for you guys. So Videl is the first green leader, playable green leader that is a Earthling only leader, meaning that she is a 5 and a 10k respectively for power level. And to counteract this, she is basically a combo deck. So what we want to do in this deck is basically we want to be able to combo with our skillless cards to be able to draw more cards and then redo the same thing over and over again. So on this side here, whenever we attack, we draw a card, and then when we combo with a skillless card, we get to draw a card and take up to 1 life. And what's interesting is that this auto, the second auto here, once per turn, wherever we combo with the skillless, does not have to be from this card's attack. So we can attack with a Unison or another battle card and combo a skillless to then take a life. Well, we can do that once per turn. On your opponent's turn, you do have the ability to Spirit Boost. After you combo with a 1-drop skillless, you can then play it out from the drop area for 1 Spirit Boost effect. So that is pretty cool. We awaken at 4, where we are restand 1, draw 1. I do wish this leader was a restand 2. I think it would make the leader a little bit better, kind of give it some more playability considering it is a 5k, but that is, that's just my opinion. And on this side, same effect with the Spirit Boost. Whenever you combo with a skillless on your opponent's turn, you can Spirit Boost and then play out a 1-drop skillless from the combo area. Second auto, now whenever you combo with the skillless, you draw a card, and then you can give one of your skillless card combo an extra 4k combo power, making them a 9k. The main auto, whenever you attack, you have the ability to draw a card, and then you choose up to one of your Unisons and tap the Unison. And when you tap the Unison, you gain that card's power added. Basically, it's kind of like an alliance effect. Now, because it is alliance, essentially it is an alliance and it's an auto, if your opponent negates your leader attack, you do have the ability to not choose the Unison and you don't have to tap it. So it is a way to kind of bait out your opponent, because obviously they're going to want to block this attack, because this attack is going to go higher than 15k just on the average. So obviously they're going to want to negate your leader attack. So that works because this is an auto, and your auto goes into pending. Your opponent then can negate. If they don't negate, then you have the ability to tap your Unison to gain the power. So obviously you're not going to swing, they're going to negate, and then you're going to tap your Unison. That's just not how it works. So this is the way for you to play kind of around that. So over the list here. Shout out to Broken Honor. He did a pretty similar deck to this. I'm going to go over kind of my list and some of the changes that I made compared to his. His list is also very, very good. So if you haven't, go ahead and watch his video. He makes awesome content over there. The Unison we are running is going to be the Pan Unison. This is the main Unison that we run in the deck. It's a 1 cost, 6k. Whenever we play it, we can +1, and this allows us to restand our leader for the turn. At the end of the turn, rather, and our leader gets blocker. Now, what's nice about this is one of the problems with this deck is self-awakening. And when you play a 1-drop Unison on turn 1, your opponent's probably just going to target this. And this allows you to be able to block an attack, to then take up to 2 life, technically. 1 from the attack, 1 from your auto to be able to combo with a skillless. But this allows you to protect your Unison and help it build up some markers. Now, at the auto, once at the end of the turn, whenever your leader activates blocker, you get to add a marker to this card and then add 1 skillless card from the drop area back to your hand. This is super helpful. mainly because obviously when we block, we're going to want to combo with a skillless to draw the card, possibly take a life, and then take the life from the attack, and then this will then gain a marker, and then we can add that skillless back to our hand, replenishing the card that we had in our hand, especially if you only seen one skillless early. It's just a way for you to recycle the same card. Then it has a -2, where your opponent can only attack once with battle cards under 4 cost, which is good. Decks this works really well against any blue deck that is running Galactic Buster, because the Bojack is a 4-drop dual attack, and this forces, basically it just gives them a flying Nimbus effect, so they can only attack with 1 battle card under 4. Just makes it so that the dual attackers can't really, cause too much harm to you. For skillless, I have a total of 7 here. 7 skillless. This should be plenty. I think between 7 and 8 is the correct amount. It just depends on which ones you want. I only run 7 because, kind of a weird thing, I only have 7 foil skillless. So that's why we're not running any extra. I do have another skillless in here somewhere that we can run. So that realistically we can run 8, but 7 is fine. I feel like between 7 and 8 is pretty good combination. You just need to be able to see one almost every turn. And then I run 2 of the Chilais. This is a proxy because my second Chilai hasn't arrived yet. But Chilai is a 1-drop. You play it out, you draw a card, and then for the rest of the turn, or for the rest of the game, when this card's in your battle area, in your combo area, it counts as a skillless. Now, one thing I learned is that this card actually does not count as a skillless in the drop area, which I find to be kind of dumb. So once this card goes to the drop area, this auto no longer, I believe this auto no longer kicks in. So then this card basically is just useless in the drop area. So the idea that people do is they play this, and then they play the Great Saiyan 2, Great Buddying, or whatever the card's called. It's the draft box card. You basically play it out for 1 green. You put a 1-drop back in your hand, a 1-drop. You basically put a skillless back in your hand, and then it plays out a 2-drop from your deck or something. It's a cool card. I don't feel like paying $20 for that card. I don't think it's worth it. I had a full playset, just sold it back when it was like $5. So, but 2 of this card I think is fine. It just gives you some extra draw power. It's basically it's a 1-drop draw too. So it's pretty cool. Obviously green. Gonna run 4 charismatic. Not much to really say about that. 3 Videls. Since we will be playing some of these out with Spirit Boost, and we have one here. This card is a 1-cost auto. Comes out whenever your opponent attacks with anything. Comes out, and then your opponent either chooses 2 cards in their hand to discard, or get the KO something on board 7 or less. What's nice about this is that this is not a counter. So if you're playing against like the Piccolo Jr. Unison, this card can come out, can do its effect, and your opponent won't be able to hit anything, obviously. But then this card also can block because it's in the auto stage. So when this card comes into play, effect goes through, and then you actually can block with it if you absolutely need to. You also can dormant or negate after you play this because this is an auto. So you can do this and then dormant or something, or shocking death ball or whatever type of negate you have in your deck, and it'll stop your opponent's attack. And then you also have a blocker on board for the next attack. And this also will KO something if your opponent decides not to drop 2 cards. Now the problem is that your opponent, you have to actually have a card to kill. So if your opponent has a battle card with barrier and you play this, your opponent can just choose not to drop 2 cards, and then you can just not choose a card. So it is kind of a weird effect for that, but it does also allow you to block an attack, which is very, very important as well. And it gets you to the combo stage, which is obviously the important part in this deck. To the Majin Buu Negates. You can run as many of these as you want to. I think it's a great card. It's our kind of a weaker version of Topo, obviously, because it's a 10k out of 20. But you pitch a card, your opponent wants to attack. For the rest of the turn, they have to drop 2 cards from their hand. So, very, very cool card. This is what I'm talking about with the Broken Honor. He shoved this in the deck, and I was running with this last weekend too. So he just kind of beat me to it. But this is a very good combination. I think you can put this in any green deck. You put it in King Cold, you put it in this deck. Honestly, any green deck going forward, unless they come out with a better combination, these two cards are absolutely nuts. So Goku, whenever you have a green card in play, you can tap. You can pay one green and play this card. Take up to 1 life. 15k unique. 15k unique barrier. And then when you have this in play, you can tap 2 to play out Tien. Now when you tap Tien, Tien comes into play, chooses all of your opponent's battle cards 5 or less, and KOs all of them. And then this card is a 20k double strike, deflect, and then the Tien gives Goku 10k and triple strike. So then this guy becomes a 25k triple strike, which is very, very powerful. One of your very, very interesting early game finishers. Just gives you a way to also to clear the board as well. Now something that he wasn't running, Broken Honor wasn't running, and I do think it's a pretty okay card, is the Majin Buu human, the Son Goku, Son Gohan, whatever. Yeah, Son Gohan, Majin Exterminator. So he has a 3 cost, 19k dual attack, deflect, double strike. And he's a 3 cost, which is kind of expensive. But I do think this card has some very, very good usage to it. So when the card comes into play, you cycle a skillless from your drop to your hand, and then from your drop to the bottom of your deck. So you get to cycle 2. In longer matchups, especially against blue, this is a card that you're going to play. It just allows you to cycle your stuff back, so you can get more combo power and fill your deck back up. Especially against like Hachiek 2 is another one. Also, whenever this card permanent, when you combo with a skillless, this card gets an extra 5k power. So the card that you combo with, if it's a skillless, gets an extra 5k power. So if you combo with a skillless here, this now becomes 29, because this becomes a 10k combo, basically a pseudo combo. But then also you also get to draw a card off your leader, and then your leader, you also can give this card another 4k. So you can make these super combos basically 14k, which is pretty cool. And that's not once per turn, and that's not also on your turn. So when this card's being attacked, you can also combo with these to do the same effect. So pretty cool. Also, it's a 5k combo. That's another thing too, is that a lot of the cards in this deck are 5k combos, so it allows us to be able to combo with almost everything. Super combo for this iteration of the deck is going to be Paragus. I do think another combination of things you can run is the 1-drop Vegeta, which is the 1-drop Vegeta. Whenever you play it, your opponent drops a card, and then you can combo with it at 4. And then you can play the Son Goku's Power of Legends, which is probably one of the best combinations for green. Whenever your opponent drops a card, you play the card out for free. Now you have a 15k crit that also can warp a battle card on board. So pretty cool combination. That I have a different deck with Videl that we run that. So we'll obviously I'll show that off later. 4 of the Spirit Boost Goku. This is a very awesome green staple. I think everybody should, if you play green, you should own a full playset of this card, because I think this card is just going to continue to get better. So it's a 1-drop, limit 1. If you have 3 or more energy, you play the card out for 1 green. And then you choose one of your opponent's battle cards, and you take off a marker. So this kind of snipes a marker off the board, which is absolutely great. Then you have an effect to activate main. Spirit Boost X, you can take off as many markers off of your Unison that you want. And for every marker you take off, you gain 5k. So also, if you take off 2 markers at the very least, this card gets double strike. So if you take off 2 markers, this card becomes a 25k double strike. Now what's good about this, the next card here requires a 20k Son Goku in play. And a 20k Son Goku at that, not a 25k. So this Piccolo here is from like set 7. And the idea is that you have a 20k Son Goku in play. You can play it out for free. It's a 20k, but it has the effect of where you can pop a 20k Goku. You choose one Goku with a 20k power or more, and you place it in the drop area. Then you choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards, energy cost 2 or less, ignoring barrier, KO it. If you KO'd a card, your opponent chooses 2 cards in their hand and places it in the drop, or you get to choose up to one of your opponent's battle cards and KO it. Again, just more single target clear, or also gives you a little bit of a hand destruction in there as well. But you make him a 20k, and then you can use this to play it out, and then you have basically two swings here. I think this is just a good combination to use if you're going to be using this card at all, just because at the very least you're getting a second swing for free. and we know how free playing stuff is in this game now. The more stuff you can play out for free, the better. Now, one of our boss monsters is going to be Dark Broly. I think this is probably the second best Unison for Pan to run. I think the Gohan that people do run, the Great Saiyan 1, this guy here, I think this card is okay. Fortunately, it dies too fast. Yes, you can search out your Unisons, which is great. You can search out your skill switch, which is awesome. It KOs a 2 or less. But there's not a lot of decks that are running a lot of very powerful 2 or less. Like Piccolo Jr. is not super prevalent right now until the King Vegeta turn 1 deck gets killed. And black Saiyan decks aren't really being played right now. Dark Broly is obviously very good. So this card can kill True Fighting Spirits. But, I mean, there's not a ton that's really working with 2 or less. But once they do, this card will be very good. So that's why we're not running it in the deck. Dark Broly allows you to have a 20k body that has double strike. So you also have the ability to swing a leader for games. You also can swing a Unisons to pop off markers, which is very, very good. Also, on your Awakened side, your leader becomes a 30k base because you can swing and tap Broly. That's super good, right? So, Broly has 3 different effects. He has an auto whenever a marker is removed from him by a non-keyword skill, which is what his errata version reads. Your opponent drops a card, which means Spirit Boost, unfortunately, does not work with this. If Spirit Boost, if they didn't errata this card would be like $20, $30, because this effect is just absolutely broken. Being able to Spirit Boost so much in this deck, you'd be able to really have one of probably the most powerful hand destruction deck in the game. But alas, we cannot do that. But we do have some pretty powerful ways to kind of damage our opponent. So we have a +2, which is the important part, which is why we run it. Being that we are a Spirit Boost deck, being able to Spirit Boost consistently and not take off too many markers is pretty powerful. So we have +2. We drop a card, our opponent then drops a card, and then they choose one of their cards and KOs it. This is very good because a lot of decks are running like either big boss monsters or very specific cards. And being able to, clear a board, kind of stifle their hand a little bit, and then having a 20k double strike swing is pretty powerful. Also, you have a -0, where you can choose one of your opponent's Unisons and take a marker off of it. So for those decks that have, very pesky Unisons, you have ways to swing, take off 2 markers, play a Goku, take off another marker, and then -1 to take off another marker. So you can take off 4 markers pretty easily. So just a little extra effect that you have on there. For some more defense, 2 Dormant. Dormant's just a card that you should run. No real reason not to run Dormant, I think. Dormant just has quite a bit of power. Any green deck, you should be running Dormant. Next, we have 2 Cells Destroying Kamehameha. You also can run Rebrand as well. I think either one is fine. Rebrand may be a little bit better because Rebrand you can put in the drop area off of your Broly and then tap 2 to Rebrand. So you can do that as well. But the card's still very, very good. 15k combo power, as well as being able to rip a card from your opponent's hand, is not a bad thing at all. One Shocking Death Ball, just extra defense. We don't run Homicidal Clones in this main deck. If this is a best of 3, we would obviously be putting Homicidal Clones in the side deck just so we have it. And then our one-ofs here, we have 1 Son Gohan, 1 Fighting Fates, 1 Champa, and then good old Supreme Kai. Rounding out our deck, just to give us obviously the good old endgame stuff with the Secret Rare, the Overrealm of Choice, which is obviously the best Overrealm in the game currently, and your Champas, because Champas are super powerful. So that's what I got for you guys today. Check back later in the week, maybe next week, and I will be going over my other builds of Videl that I have, which are a little more complex. This is just kind of the basic, close to what the basic green list would be. I think most other lists are probably running the Great Saiyan 2 card, just for more consistency. But instead I don't have that card, so we're just working around with some other stuff, mainly adding in the Gohans here. So thank you guys for watching. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next video.